Now let's talk about getting into retail. Has anyone gotten a product into retail yet? Thinking about it? Yeah, okay, good. So let's talk about the steps that you would have to go through. Step one, obviously, you have to search, which retailer is going to carry your product. Okay? Go to the shopping malls, go to the internet. And I would recommend you don't start with Walmart, you don't start with Target, you start with some of the smaller retailers. Okay? And I'll give you an example. I had someone I knew, they came to me and they said, look, we had an interest with Home Depot, and they had this like gardening type product. And Home Depot got really excited about it, and they said, all right, I think this makes sense. We're going to order 1 million units. Okay? Now their costs were $5, and now they're scrambling to figure out how am I going to make 1 million units, and where am I going to get $5 million? Now typically these retailers are not going to pay you until, let's say, 120 days after you deliver. Okay? And the other thing you have to keep in mind is that they want to know that you can actually supply that quantity. Because then they found out it was just a mom and pop operation, and they realized that these people are not going to be able to deliver 1 million units. Okay, they've gone from 0 to 1 million within like a month. No. So step two is now you're going to call the retailer headquarters, okay, and ask for the buyer. Sometimes they're called the category manager, sometimes they're called the buyer, typically the buyer. Okay? Then there's a buyer for every little piece of product out there. So again, if you have an auto product, there's every item in there, sometimes they group them together. There's a buyer for one type, there's a buyer for another type. Okay? And find out really what are their procedures to consider your product. Okay? What do I have to do to get my product in your stores? Okay? And they'll tell you. Okay? Assuming you can get them on the phone, they're so busy. Okay? And then you send that material that they request, and within a week or two, find out what's going on. Telephone call, email. Okay. So the question is, what are they going to ask for? Okay, and I'm going to tell you what they're going to ask for. Okay. First of all, they're going to want a nice brochure of your product. What's it all about? They want to see some pictures of it, something professional. Okay. What's the price list? They want to find out, in quantities, what's the price breakdown? If I buy 5, 100, and what's the size of the box going to be? They want to know all these little things. Who's currently selling your product? What retailers out there are currently selling? Because in other words, they're competing with these other retailers. And they also want to know, is anyone else using this? I mean, are we the guinea pigs? Okay. They want to know, what are your marketing and promotional plans? Just because you have a product in the retail doesn't mean you're done. Okay, you have to drive traffic into that retailer store. That's the same whether it's online or whether it's a physical store. Okay? Because they want to know that it's not going to just sit on the shelf. Okay? When the product is on the shelf, that's worth a certain amount of dollars to that retailer. And if that product is not moving, not selling, then they will dump it. Okay? They want to know about your business history. Who are you? How long have you been in business? What's your track record? Do you have references? In terms of samples, they often want them later. So I know we want to show off our product, but they're going to make a decision based on a business perspective. Okay? If they like what they see in terms of the brochure, the price list, the retailers, the history and your promotional plans, then they'll ask for some samples. Again, some of them want them up front. Typically, they want them later because they talk about they have a big disposal problem. If everyone starts sending them all these samples, then they've got all this trash building up, and it costs them actually a lot of money to dispose of all of this. Now, so you send all that to them. What are they going to do? How are they going to evaluate your product? Okay. One is that the product is in demand. Okay. Now, you can try to help them with some testimonials. You can, again, if you have a track record. So again, if maybe you're selling, maybe by yourself you sell 100 a day or 100 a month, and they'll say, well, if this was in all our stores, can you imagine what the sales volume could be? So you can help them try to understand that. Track record. Okay, again, they want to see some kind of track record. Large potential sales volume. Okay. And a manufacturer that can produce the volume they need. if you just have a single source somewhere in China and it's just like a little factory, how many can they produce? You want to tell them, hey, look, I'm using certain manufacturers, okay, and it's easy to produce this thing. I can crank out 100,000 a month just like that, okay. Packaging is very important, okay. It's got to be nice compared to what's already in that store. So I would go into that store, find out what kind of packaging they're using. Now, you don't have to send them the package. You can have, again, samples of it. So in your brochure, you would show a picture of the product, let's say, in the box, for example, or however it's packaged. Support. This is very important. They tell me this over and over again. They want to see, whether it's in-store demos, okay, point-of-sale displays. That's very important to them. Or maybe you have some kind of information booklet or something hanging off the side. Advertising and promotion, all this is very important. They just get really upset when you say, all right, you just turn it over to them and you're gone.